Picture this. You've spent countless hours trying to make others see your worth, bending over backward to please them, and sacrificing your own needs just to fit into their lives. And yet, you find yourself stuck, waiting for validation that never seems to come. Why is it that the more you chase, the more invisible you feel? Why do the people you care about most take you for granted, while you're left wondering what else you need to do to be valued? The truth is, you've been following a flawed script. You've bought into the idea that love and respect come from how much you give, how available you make yourself, and how hard you work to prove your worth. But here's the kicker. That script is wrong. It's not effort that commands admiration, it's self-respect. It's not constant availability that makes you unforgettable, it's scarcity. And it's not chasing that makes people miss you, it's pulling back. What if I told you that by flipping the script, by embracing the wisdom of Stoicism and making small but profound changes to your behavior, you could transform your relationships and become someone others chase, respect, and miss deeply? Imagine reclaiming your energy, setting boundaries, and creating space that makes people see your worth in ways they never did before. This isn't about manipulation, it's about stepping into your power. Today, we're diving into 8 transformative steps that will make them miss you the moment you take action. These aren't just theories, they're proven strategies rooted in psychology and the timeless principles of Stoicism. So if you're tired of being overlooked, undervalued, or taken for granted, stay with me. By the end of this, you won't just know your worth, you'll embody it. 1. The power of absence. Have you ever noticed that people rarely appreciate what they have until it's gone? Think about the last time someone's absence struck you deeply. Was it because they made a dramatic exit? Or was it because their presence, once constant and comforting, was suddenly no longer there? Now, ask yourself, could your constant availability be the very reason people overlook you? When you're always around, always the one reaching out, checking in, and making plans, your presence becomes background noise. Predictable, reliable, but unnoticed. This isn't because you're unworthy of attention, but because human nature takes the familiar for granted. The first step to being missed is to break that cycle. By pulling back, you create a vacuum, a space where your absence becomes palpable. Suddenly, the good morning text you used to send, the emotional support you used to provide, and the time you used to give freely are no longer there. And that void speaks louder than any words ever could. It forces others to confront the value you brought into their lives, value they might have ignored until now. But let me ask you this. Are you afraid that stepping back will push them away? Does the thought of silence feel like losing control? This is where Stoicism becomes your greatest ally. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. By reclaiming your energy and redirecting it toward yourself, you're not losing control, you're taking it back. Here's the thing. This isn't about punishing anyone or playing games. It's about honoring your own value. When you stop filling every gap, stop being the one who always reaches out first, and stop making yourself available at the drop of a hat, you give others the chance to miss you. And trust me, they will notice. The absence of your energy is a loud reminder of how much you gave. Now, this process isn't without discomfort. The initial silence may feel like walking away from something you've poured your heart into. But here's the truth. If someone drifts away because you stop chasing them, they were never truly invested in you. And if they start to notice and crave your presence, it's because they've realized what they took for granted. The beauty of creating space lies in what it reveals. It shows you who truly values you and who doesn't. It's a filter, one that helps you separate the people worth keeping from those who are merely taking up space. Either way, you win. So I ask you, how much longer will you keep giving your energy to people who don't appreciate it? How long will you let your worth be defined by someone else's ability to notice it? The time to reclaim your power is now. Pull back, create space, and let them feel what life is like without your constant presence. This is the first step in transforming not only how others see you, but also how you see yourself. And here's the secret. When they start to miss you, it won't just be because of what you gave them. it'll be because of who you've become. By stepping back, you're not just creating absence, you're creating value. Let me leave you with this. Do you want to be remembered for how much you chased or for how much you're worth? The choice is yours, and it starts now. Say it with me. I know my worth. Type it in the comments, write it down, and let it become your mantra. The moment you embrace this truth is the moment everything changes. 2. Reclaiming power. You are the hero of your story. Let me ask you this. Whose story have you been living? Is it yours, or have you allowed someone else to become the central character while you play the supporting role? Think about it. How many times have you bent, adjusted, or even shrunk yourself just to fit into someone else's narrative? How often do you seek their approval, hoping to finally feel seen, valued, and loved? The reality is harsh but undeniable. The moment you give someone else the power to dictate your worth, you lose control of your life. It's time to flip the script. This is your story, your life, and your worth. And you, yes, you are the hero. You are not here to be a background character in someone else's drama, their fallback option, or the one who waits quietly in the wings for a chance to be noticed. No, you are the one who calls the shots, sets the pace, and decides who gets to stay in your world. The moment you reclaim that truth is the moment everything changes. But why is it so easy to hand over this power? The answer lies in fear of being alone, fear of being unloved, fear of losing something or someone you've invested in deeply. This fear traps you in a cycle of chasing, pleasing, and overextending. You tell yourself, if I just try harder, give more, or stay longer, they'll see my value. But has that ever worked? Be honest with yourself. Has that strategy ever made anyone love or respect you more? Likely not. Here's the truth. The respect and admiration you crave can only come when you respect and admire yourself first. This isn't just a platitude, it's a fundamental law of human connection. People are drawn to those who know their worth, who don't settle, and who live unapologetically according to their own values. When you start living for yourself instead of others, you become magnetic. Stoicism teaches us this critical lesson. Epictetus, one of its greatest thinkers, said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." What does that mean? It means being brave enough to let go of how others perceive you. Stop chasing their approval. Stop molding yourself into someone else's idea of enough. The only validation you need is your own. But how do you take back the power you've given away? Start by setting boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls, they're gates. They don't shut people out entirely, they filter who gets to come in and under what circumstances. A boundary might look like saying no to plans that don't align with your priorities. It might mean deciding to stop texting first all the time. It could mean taking the time to pursue your own passions and growth instead of always focusing on theirs. Reclaiming power is also about redefining your self-worth. Your worth doesn't come from how many people like you, how often someone texts you back, or how much you sacrifice for others. It comes from within. It comes from the way you treat yourself, the goals you pursue, and the life you build. Ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to live? Am I living it for myself or for someone else? When you make this shift, everything changes. The people who value you will rise to meet your new standards. Those who don't will fade away, and that's a gift. Their absence creates space for better connections, for people who truly see and appreciate you for who you are. Here's an exercise for you. Start each day by affirming the simple truth, I am the hero of my story. Write it down, say it out loud, or type it in the comments below. Let it sink into your soul. This is your declaration, your turning point. Every time you feel the urge to chase, to bend, to shrink, remind yourself, you are the hero, not the sidekick. And if you need more proof that this works, look back at your life. Think about the times you stood firm, prioritized yourself, and walked away from what no longer served you. Didn't those moments lead to growth, to better opportunities, and to a deeper sense of self-respect? That's not a coincidence, it's a pattern. And it's one you can repeat. So what's stopping you from stepping into this role fully? Fear, doubt. Let those emotions come, but don't let them control you. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The strength to live for yourself. The strength to reclaim your power. If this resonates with you, I want you to take a small but bold step right now. Like this video and comment number 1 if you're ready to reclaim your story. Show yourself in the world that you're done waiting for someone else's approval. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel so we can continue this journey together. Your transformation is just beginning, and I promise you it only gets better from here. You are the hero. Start living like it today. 3. The secret weapon, scarcity and value. Let me ask you something. How do you treat things that are always available, easy to access, and free of effort? Think about it. A light switch, a cup of water, even the air we breathe. These things are vital, but they're so abundant that we often don't pause to appreciate them. Now contrast that with how you treat something rare, a precious gemstone, an exclusive opportunity, or a moment of deep connection with someone special. When something is scarce, it commands attention. It holds value. It's desired. So here's the question. Are you presenting yourself as a diamond or as a pebble? Are you someone whose time, energy, and presence are perceived as rare and valuable? Or are you so readily available that people take you for granted without even realizing it? The truth is simple. People don't value what comes too easily. And when you make yourself constantly available, when you're always the one to reach out, make plans, and keep the connection alive, you unintentionally dilute your own worth in their eyes. It's not about your intrinsic value as a person, it's about how your behavior shapes their perception. The more you give without requiring anything in return, the more they assume your presence is guaranteed. This is where scarcity becomes your secret weapon. When you pull back, when you stop being the one who always shows up, it creates a shift. It makes people stop and think. Suddenly, your time and attention are no longer a given, they're a gift. And that gift becomes something they want to earn, something they crave. But let me be clear. Scarcity is not about manipulation. It's not about playing hard to get or ghosting people to create drama. It's about resetting the dynamic, reclaiming your energy, and reminding others and yourself that your presence is valuable. This isn't a tactic to make people chase you. It's a philosophy rooted in self-respect. Stoicism offers profound insight into this concept. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." How much of your time have you spent giving yourself away to people who didn't earn it? How often have you said yes when you wanted to say no? How many moments of your life have you spent chasing, fixing, or proving your worth to someone else? These are the questions you must answer honestly if you want to change the way others see you and the way you see yourself. Creating scarcity doesn't mean disappearing entirely. It's about setting boundaries and being intentional with your energy. It means saying no to things that don't align with your values and priorities. It means not being the one to text first every single time. It means allowing silence to exist and letting others step forward to fill the space. Here's the beauty of this approach. When you create space, it forces others to reflect. They begin to notice the little things they once took for granted, the way you always listened without judgment, the effort you put into making plans, the warmth you brought into their life. Without your constant presence, those things become vivid. And in that vividness, your value becomes undeniable. But here's the challenge. Pulling back can feel uncomfortable, even risky. What if they don't notice? What if they drift away? These fears are natural, but they stem from a misunderstanding of your own worth. Your value doesn't come from their recognition, it comes from within. And if someone drifts away because you stopped overextending yourself, they were never truly invested in you to begin with. The key to embracing scarcity is trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the process, and trust in the wisdom of creating balance in your relationships. Remember, relationships thrive on mutual effort. By stepping back, you're not creating distance out of spite. You're making room for reciprocity. You're giving others the chance to show you that they value you enough to invest their time, energy, and attention. So what does this look like in practice? It starts small. The next time you feel the urge to reach out, first pause. Let them come to you. If you're always the one making plans, take a step back and see if they initiate. If someone's been inconsistent or distant, match their energy instead of overcompensating. These are subtle changes, but their impact is profound. As you make these shifts, you'll begin to notice a change, not just in how others treat you, but in how you feel about yourself. There's a quiet confidence that comes with knowing your worth and protecting your energy. It's not loud or flashy, but it's magnetic. People are drawn to those who respect themselves, because self-respect signals strength, independence, and value. Now, let me leave you with this. How often do you give your time and energy to people who haven't earned it? How much of yourself do you offer freely without considering whether it's appreciated or reciprocated? These are the questions you must ask yourself if you're serious about creating change. The journey to becoming someone they miss doesn't start with them. It starts with you. It starts with recognizing that your time and attention are gifts, not guarantees. It starts with living your life as if you're the rare and valuable person you truly are. And when you do that, people will notice. They always do. 4. Breaking patterns. Disrupt their expectations. Let me ask you this. How predictable are you? Do the people in your life know exactly how you'll respond, what you'll do, and how far you'll go to keep the relationship alive? If the answer is yes, then let me explain why that predictability might be the very reason they've stopped appreciating you. When people can predict your every move, they stop paying attention. It's human nature. We crave novelty, challenge, and the unexpected. But when someone knows that you'll always be the first to text, always be available at their convenience, and always forgive without question, they stop valuing what you bring to the table. You've become the one constant in their life that they no longer notice. So here's the solution. Break their patterns. Disrupt their expectations. Force them to stop and reassess who you are and what you mean to them. This isn't about playing games or being manipulative. It's about stepping out of the role they've boxed you into and reclaiming your individuality. Think about it. What patterns have you fallen into in your relationships? Are you always the one to make plans? The one who keeps things running smoothly? The one who never says no? These habits, while well-intentioned, create a dynamic where you're taken for granted. It's not because the other person doesn't care, it's because they've grown accustomed to your effort, and it's no longer seen as special. Breaking patterns is about shaking things up, not as a punishment, but as a wake-up call. Imagine this. If you've always been the one to text first, what would happen if you didn't? If you're usually the one to apologize first, what if you waited for them to step forward instead? If you always agree to their plans, what if you voiced your own preferences for once? These small shifts send a powerful message. You're no longer playing by the old rules. But let's address the elephant in the room. Doesn't changing your behavior feel risky? What if they don't notice? What if they pull away further? These fears are natural, but they're rooted in the idea that your value depends on how much you give. It doesn't. Your value comes from who you are, not how predictable or accommodating you can be. Breaking patterns also puts the focus back on mutual effort. Relationships are meant to be two-way streets, and if you've been carrying the full load, it's time to step back and let the other person pick up their share. When you stop doing all the heavy lifting, it forces them to reevaluate. Suddenly, they're faced with the reality that you're not a fixture in their life. You're a person with boundaries, needs, and a life of your own. Here's the beauty of this process. It creates curiosity. When you stop being so predictable, people can't help but wonder what's changed. Why aren't you texting as much? Why aren't you as available? That curiosity draws them in, making them pay closer attention to you in ways they haven't before. But let me be clear. Breaking patterns isn't about creating conflict or confusion for its own sake. It's about creating space for growth, both yours and theirs. It's about showing that you respect yourself enough to change the dynamic and setting the stage for a healthier, more balanced connection. Stoicism offers timeless wisdom here. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In the context of relationships, this means living out the standards you expect from others. If you want effort, consistency, and respect, embody those qualities in yourself and demand the same in return, not through words but through actions. So how do you start breaking patterns? Begin with one small change. If you've always been the one to reach out, wait and let them reach out first. If you're constantly available, take time for yourself and focus on your own goals. If you've been forgiving too quickly, take the time to reflect and decide if the relationship truly aligns with your values. As you make these changes, you'll notice something remarkable. People who truly value you will rise to meet your new standards. They'll appreciate the effort you've always given because they'll realize it's no longer guaranteed. And those who don't value you, they'll fade away, making space for better connections. Now, let's take a moment to reflect. Have you been living in a cycle of predictability, hoping it would earn you love or respect? How has that worked for you? If you're ready to break free from that cycle and reclaim your power, then it's time to act. If this message resonates with you, show your commitment by liking this video and commenting number 1 below. Let us know that you're ready to step out of the box others have placed you in. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel so we can continue to guide you through this transformative journey. Remember, breaking patterns isn't about them, it's about you. It's about stepping into your worth, shaking off old habits and showing the world and yourself who you truly are. The power is in your hands. Take it. 5. Silence is strength. Mirror their behavior. Let me ask you this. How often do you feel the need to explain yourself, to defend your actions, prove your worth, or react when someone disrespects you? It's a natural impulse to speak up, to clarify, to ensure you're understood. But what if I told you that your silence could be far more powerful than any explanation you could ever give? We live in a world where noise dominates. Everyone is talking, reacting, and fighting to be heard. But in the midst of all this chaos, silence stands out. Silence is unsettling. It's mysterious. It's powerful. And when you master the art of silence, you gain a control over relationships and dynamics that few ever achieve. Think about the last time you were in an argument or faced someone who expected a reaction from you. What happened when you didn't give them what they wanted? When you stayed calm, composed, and silent? Chances are it threw them off balance. Silence creates space for reflection, for curiosity, and for discomfort. And in that space, power shifts. When you stop reacting emotionally, you're no longer giving your power away. You're no longer allowing others to dictate your mood, your energy, or your self-worth. This is the essence of Stoicism, mastering your inner world so that external events no longer control you. Marcus Aurelius captured this perfectly when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. But silence isn't just about withholding words. It's about using it as a tool to mirror others' behavior. When someone takes you for granted, what happens when you stop overextending yourself? When they act distant, what happens when you meet them with the same distance? This isn't about revenge or pettiness, it's about holding up a mirror so they can see the impact of their actions. Imagine this. Someone in your life has grown comfortable with your effort, assuming you'll always be there, no matter how little they give in return. Instead of confronting them with words, you simply adjust your behavior. You stop initiating conversations. You stop making plans. You stop filling the gaps they've left. Suddenly, they're faced with the absence of your energy, and it forces them to reflect. They begin to notice the imbalance, and they feel the discomfort of realizing they've taken you for granted. This is the power of mirroring. It's not about creating conflict, it's about restoring balance. It's about showing others, through your actions or lack thereof, what it feels like to be on the receiving end of their behavior. And the best part? You don't have to say a word. Your silence speaks for itself. Of course, this isn't easy. Staying silent when you're used to explaining, defending, or reacting can feel unnatural. You might worry that silence will be misinterpreted or that it will push people away. But here's the truth. If someone drifts away because you stop chasing, over-explaining, or overcompensating, they weren't truly invested in you to begin with. And if they notice, reflect, and change their behavior, it's a sign that they value you and want to maintain the connection. Silence also creates an air of mystery. When you're not constantly explaining yourself, people are forced to wonder, what are you thinking? Why aren't you reacting? This curiosity draws them in, making them pay closer attention to you. And in paying attention, they start to see you in a new light, not as someone who can be easily read or controlled, but as someone with depth, composure, and strength. Here's an important distinction. Silence doesn't mean coldness or indifference. It doesn't mean shutting people out or pretending not to care. It means choosing your moments to engage thoughtfully, rather than reacting impulsively. It means valuing your peace and refusing to let someone else's actions dictate your emotions. When you master silence, you'll find that it's not just a tool for relationships, it's a pathway to inner strength. In the stillness, you can hear your own thoughts clearly. You can reflect on what truly matters and make decisions that align with your values. Silence allows you to step back, observe, and respond with intention rather than emotion. So the next time you're faced with someone who expects a reaction from you, pause. Take a breath. Let the silence do the work. Let them sit with the consequences of their actions. Let them wonder. And most importantly, let yourself feel the power of not needing to prove anything to anyone. Ask yourself, how often do I react out of habit rather than intention? What would happen if I chose silence instead? Could I let go of the need to explain, defend, or seek validation? These are the questions that lead to true self-mastery. Remember, silence isn't weakness, it's strength. It's a declaration that you value your peace over drama, your dignity over their approval, and your energy over unnecessary conflict. And when you embrace this mindset, you don't just change how others see you, you change how you see yourself. 6. Protect your peace. Boundaries and emotional space. Let's talk about your inner world, your mind, your heart, your energy. How often do you let others enter this sacred space without question? How many times have you allowed someone's negativity, demands, or chaos to disrupt your peace? If you're feeling drained, overwhelmed, or unappreciated, it's time to ask yourself, am I protecting my peace, or am I giving it away? Your inner world is a sanctuary. It's the place where your thoughts, emotions, and values reside. But too often, we treat it like a public park, open to everyone, no boundaries, no restrictions. And what happens? People come and go as they please, leaving behind their mess, their burdens, and their opinions. Before you know it, you've lost sight of who you are in the noise of what everyone else expects you to be. Here's the hard truth. Not everyone deserves access to your emotions. Not everyone has earned the right to influence your thoughts or dictate your energy. Protecting your peace doesn't mean shutting people out or becoming unapproachable. It means setting boundaries, clear, firm, and non-negotiable guidelines for how others treat you. Boundaries are not selfish. They are survival. They are the guardrails that keep you aligned with your values and priorities. And when you set them, you send a powerful message. My energy is valuable, my time is precious, and my peace is not up for negotiation. I think about this. How often do you say yes when you want to say no? How many times have you let someone vent their frustrations to you without considering the toll it takes on your own emotional well-being? How many times have you sacrificed your own needs to accommodate someone else's? These patterns don't make you kind, they make you vulnerable to being drained. Protecting your peace starts with recognizing that your well-being is your responsibility. No one else will prioritize it for you. This is where Stoicism offers profound guidance. Epictetus reminds us it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you set boundaries, you take control of your reactions. You decide who and what gets your attention. Let's explore what this looks like in practice. First, identify the people and situations that disrupt your peace. Is it the friend who constantly complains but never listens? The partner who takes but rarely gives? The colleague who oversteps but never considers your time? Once you recognize these patterns, it's time to set boundaries. Boundaries don't have to be confrontational. They can be as simple as saying, I need some time to recharge, or I'm not available right now, but I'll get back to you when I can. The key is consistency. People will test your boundaries, especially if they're used to you always being available. Stand firm. Over time, they'll learn to respect the limits you've set. As you protect your peace, you'll notice a shift, not just in how others treat you, but in how you feel about yourself. There's a unique strength that comes from honoring your own needs. It's not about putting yourself above others. It's about recognizing that you can't pour from an empty cup. When you prioritize your well-being, you're better equipped to show up for the people and things that truly matter. Of course, this journey isn't without challenges. Setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to being the yes person. You might worry about being seen as cold, distant, or selfish. But remember, the people who truly value you will respect your boundaries. They'll understand that your peace is not a rejection of them, it's an affirmation of yourself. And what about the people who don't respect your boundaries? Let them go. Their resistance is not your responsibility. As hard as it may feel, their absence creates space for healthier, more fulfilling relationships to enter your life. Remember, your peace is not up for compromise. Here's a question to reflect on. How often do you let others dictate your emotional state? What would your life look like if you reclaimed that power? Imagine a version of yourself that no longer feels drained by other people's negativity, no longer sacrifices your own needs to keep the peace, and no longer apologizes for prioritizing your well-being. This is not just a shift in behavior, it's a shift in mindset. It's realizing that your peace, your energy, and your inner world are priceless. It's understanding that you are not here to be someone else's emotional crutch or safety net. You are here to live your life fully, unapologetically, and aligned with your values. If this resonates with you, let it be known. Like this video and comment number 1 to affirm that you're ready to protect your peace. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for more insights and strategies to help you reclaim your power and live the life you deserve. Your peace is your power. Protect it fiercely, and you'll find that the right people, the right opportunities, and the right energy will naturally align with you. This is your life. Live it on your terms. 7. Inspire effort. Make them earn you. Let me ask you this. How much effort have you been putting into your relationships? Be honest with yourself. Are you the one who initiates conversations, makes plans, and ensures everything runs smoothly? If the answer is yes, then here's the follow-up question. How much effort are they putting in? Are they meeting you halfway, or have they grown accustomed to you doing all the work? The truth is, people value what they have to work for. It's human nature. When we invest time, energy, and effort into something, it becomes more meaningful to us. Conversely, when something is handed to us with little to no effort on our part, it's easy to take it for granted. If you've been carrying the full weight of a relationship, be it romantic, platonic, or professional, you're unintentionally making yourself too easy to overlook. This isn't about playing games or withholding affection. It's about creating balance. Relationships should be built on mutual effort, not one-sided sacrifices. When you step back and allow others to invest in you, two things happen. They begin to value you more deeply, and you reclaim your energy for the things that truly matter. Think of a time when you worked hard for something, a promotion, a personal goal, or even a meaningful gift for someone you care about. How did that effort make you feel about the outcome? Chances are, it heightened your appreciation. Effort creates emotional ties. It deepens our connection to the things and people we work for. But here's the question. Are you giving people the chance to work for you? Or have you been making everything so easy that they've stopped noticing the value you bring? It's time to shift that dynamic. It's time to inspire effort. Start by pulling back just a little. If you've always been the one to initiate, pause and let them take the lead. If you've been quick to offer support or solve problems, take a step back and let them find their own solutions. This doesn't mean disappearing or becoming indifferent. It means creating space for them to show that they value you enough to invest their time and energy. This can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to being the giver in your relationships. You might worry that pulling back will create distance or make them think you don't care. But here's the truth. If someone truly values you, they will step up. They'll notice the shift and make an effort to bridge the gap. And if they don't, it's a clear sign that they weren't as invested as you believed. Stoicism teaches us the importance of focusing on what we can control. You cannot control how others respond to you, but you can control how much energy you choose to give. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. By inspiring effort, you're not manipulating anyone, you're simply reclaiming your strength and allowing others to meet you on equal ground. This process also requires patience. People may not notice the change right away. They may not immediately adjust to your new boundaries. That's okay. Growth takes time, for you and for them. What matters is that you remain consistent in your decision to stop overextending yourself. As you make this shift, you'll begin to notice something remarkable. The people who truly care about you will rise to the occasion. They'll reach out, make plans, and invest in the relationship in ways they hadn't before. And those who don't, they'll fade away, creating space for healthier, more balanced connections. But let's be clear. This isn't about withholding affection or attention as a form of control. It's about recognizing your own worth and refusing to settle for one-sided relationships. It's about setting a standard that says, "I am worth the effort." And when you live by that standard, you attract people who see your value and are willing to work to keep you in their lives. Here's an exercise to help you get started. Reflect on one relationship in your life where you feel like you've been giving too much. What would happen if you pulled back slightly? What would happen if you allowed the other person to take the lead? Write down your thoughts and commit to taking one small step toward creating balance. This isn't about creating distance for the sake of it. It's about creating space for mutual effort. It's about reminding yourself and others that your energy is not infinite and should not be taken for granted. And when you inspire effort, you're not just transforming your relationships, you're transforming how you see yourself. So let me leave you with this. Are you ready to stop overextending yourself and let others meet you halfway? Are you ready to embrace the idea that your time and energy are worth working for? The choice is yours. Inspire effort, and you'll find that the relationships that matter most will grow stronger, while those that don't will naturally fall away. Either way, you win. 8. Make them feel your absence. Have you ever noticed how absence can be louder than presence? When someone who was once always there suddenly steps back, their absence creates a void, one that can't be ignored. That's the power of stepping away. It's not about disappearing entirely or ghosting people. It's about creating space, giving others the opportunity to realize what they've been taking for granted. Let's be honest. When you're always available, always reaching out, and always filling the gaps in a relationship, it becomes easy for others to overlook your value. It's not because they don't care, it's because they've never had to face the possibility of losing you. They've never had to feel what life would be like without your constant presence. And that's exactly what needs to change. Making someone feel your absence isn't an act of punishment, it's an act of self-respect. It's about reclaiming your energy, setting boundaries, and allowing others to experience what it means not to have unlimited access to you. It's about showing, not telling, that your time and attention are gifts, not guarantees. Imagine this. You've been the one who always texts first, who always checks in, who always makes plans. What happens when you stop? At first, they might not notice. They might even assume you'll reach out eventually. But as days pass and your usual presence is missing, something shifts. They begin to wonder, why haven't you reached out? Is something wrong? Did they take you for granted? That void, the space created by your absence, forces them to reflect on what they've lost. But let me ask you this. Are you afraid that stepping back will push them away? Does the idea of creating distance make you feel like you're losing control? These fears are natural, but they're rooted in a belief that your worth is tied to how much you give. It's not. Your worth is inherent, and stepping back doesn't diminish it. In fact, it highlights it. When you make someone feel your absence, you're not just creating distance, you're creating clarity. You're giving them the chance to see your value in ways they couldn't when you were always present. You're allowing them to feel the weight of your absence and the impact of your presence. And in that process, you're also creating space for yourself to reflect, recharge, and refocus on what truly matters. This isn't about cutting people off or playing games. It's about balance. It's about shifting the dynamic from one where you're always giving to one where effort is mutual. And here's the thing. If someone truly values you, they'll feel your absence and step up. They'll reach out, make an effort, and show that they care. And if they don't, that's your answer. Their lack of effort speaks volumes about where you stand in their life. Stoicism teaches us that we can't control how others respond to us, but we can control how we show up, or choose not to. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Making someone feel your absence is an act of strength. It's about taking control of your energy and choosing to direct it toward yourself rather than giving it away without thought. So how do you start? Begin by identifying the relationships where you've been giving too much. Are you always the one to initiate contact? The one who goes out of your way to keep the connection alive? Step back. Let silence do the work. Allow the other person to feel what life is like without your constant effort. This process might feel uncomfortable at first. You might be tempted to break the silence, to fill the gap, to reach out and make things easier. Resist that urge. Remember, this isn't about them, it's about you. It's about reclaiming your power and showing yourself that your worth doesn't depend on their acknowledgement. As you step back, focus on yourself. Pour your energy into your growth, your goals, and your happiness. The more you invest in yourself, the less you'll feel the need for their validation. And here's the beautiful irony. The moment you stop needing them is often the moment they start craving you. This is the power of absence. It's not about manipulation, it's about creating space for others to see your value. And when they do, the dynamic shifts. They begin to appreciate your presence in ways they never did before. They start to see you not as someone who's always there, but as someone worth working to keep. If this resonates with you, let it be known. Like this video and comment number 1 to affirm that you're ready to reclaim your energy and make them feel your absence. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more insights and strategies to help you step into your power and live the life you deserve. Remember, your absence is not a punishment, it's a reminder. A reminder that your time, energy, and presence are valuable. And when you choose to step back, you're not just showing them your worth, you're showing it to yourself. This is your moment, take it. Let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've explored. What does it mean to reclaim your power, your worth, and your place in your own story? It means letting go of the need for external validation. It means stepping back from chasing others and stepping into the realization that you are enough, just as you are. You've seen how creating scarcity, setting boundaries, and protecting your peace can transform the way others see you. You've learned that making people feel your absence isn't about playing games, it's about showing that your time and energy are gifts, not obligations. And you've discovered that silence, detachment, and inspiring effort are tools not just for healthier relationships, but for deeper self-respect. Now, here's the final question. Are you ready to embody these truths? Are you ready to stop living for others' approval and start living for yourself? This isn't a quick fix or a fleeting strategy. It's a way of life, one that prioritizes your peace, your growth, and your happiness above all else. Stoicism reminds us that we are the masters of our inner world. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Today, you have the opportunity to shift your thoughts, to choose self-respect over desperation, and to build a life where you're not chasing, but are instead being chased. Here's the reality. The people who truly value you will rise to meet your standards. They'll step up, make an effort, and appreciate you for who you are. Those who don't, they'll fade away, making room for better connections. Either way, you win. Because this journey isn't about them, it's about you. So what's your next step? How will you begin reclaiming your worth today? Whether it's pulling back from a one-sided relationship, setting a new boundary, or simply affirming to yourself, "I know my worth. The choice is yours. But don't wait. The moment you decide to take control of your life is the moment everything changes. If this message has resonated with you, take action. Like this video, comment number 1 to affirm your commitment to this journey, and subscribe to this channel so we can continue walking this path together. This isn't the end, it's just the beginning. Your story is yours to write, and I can't wait to see what you create. Thank you for being here, for reflecting, and for choosing to step into your power. Remember, you are valuable, you are deserving, and you are in control. Here's to living your life unapologetically, on your terms. Go out and show the world your worth, because trust me, they'll notice. They always do.